Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, coming on to the clinicals of glycolysis, we have a few here. The first one is maturity onset diabetes of the young type 2. If you recall my lecture on glycolysis, we learned that there is an enzyme glucokinase, which is the fourth isoform of hexokinase. And glucokinase was activated when the blood glucose levels used to rise. When blood used to come, nutritious blood used to come from the hepatic portal vein to the liver, and glucokinase is specifically in the hepatocytes, the liver cells. So what happened was that glucokinase got activated because of that hyperglycemia, and it triggered the secretion of insulin. So sometimes what happens is that if there is a mutation in the gene responsible for the production of glucokinase is a protein that is encoded by DNA. Obviously all proteins are encoded by DNA. So if there is a mutation in the DNA that is encoding for that glucokinase, what happens is that the glucokinase does not function because it is mutated. So what that does is that it can lead to hyperglycemia, uncontrolled hyperglycemia, and impaired insulin secretion, as opposed to diabetes mellitus, where you do have insulin secretion, type 2, diabetes mellitus type 2, in which you do have insulin secretion, but the sensitivity of insulin, it decreases, right? Alright, so the next clinical is arsenic poisoning. Okay, if you remember the steps of glycolysis, there was a step that converted glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to 1,3-DPG and then to 3-phosphoglycerate. So this was the normal sequence of the steps. What arsenate does is that it bypasses the step that is the conversion of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to 1,3-DPG, and it directly converts it to 3-phosphoglycerate. So what that did was that 1,3-DPG had an energy potential. 1,3-DPG had two phosphate molecules. One it could donate to 3-phosphoglycerate, and another to an ADP, adenosine diphosphate, to form an ATP molecule, which is what we need. That is why glycolysis is something that we need for ATP production. So if that step is bypassed, and secondly, this step also yielded an NADH molecule, which ultimately gave an ATP molecule in the oxidative phosphorylation process. So if NADH is not produced, ATP is not produced, the cell is deprived of energy, and it can be fatal and lethal. So that's why arsenic poisoning is, lethal. Third is pyruvate kinase deficiency. Okay, so pyruvate kinase is an enzyme that converts phosphoenol pyruvate to pyruvate, and this step yields ATP molecules, right? As we know that in RBCs there is anaerobic respiration, so there is already a lot of burden for the RBCs to continuously produce lactate from pyruvate to reoxidize the NADH that was reduced and to convert it back to NAD positive, because we have NAD positive in a limited amount. So if pyruvate kinase is deficient, then what happens is that pyruvate is not formed. Secondly, ATP is not formed. Now, being the only source of ATP for a cell that is so active in oxygen transport, it requires the cell transport and all the cell transport that is happening, the ions that are moving inside and outside of the cell. The whole process will be impaired because those processes require ATP, and if ATP is not there, the cell will not be able to maintain shape, because these ions, they also maintain shape. We have a cell membrane, not a cell wall, unlike plant cells or bacterial cells. So we cannot maintain our shape that way without the normal process of diffusion and osmosis that occur. So if that is impaired, the cell shape will not be maintained. And this is the normal biconcave shape of an RBC. This is a normal RBC, and this is a spiculated shape of an RBC that is characteristic of pyruvate kinase deficiency. And what that does is that now this is a blood vessel, and suppose these spiculated RBCs they're flowing through the blood. One of those, it clogs to the blood vessel wall. Others, they start clumping onto that, and what it does is that it blocks the blood vessel. So it could be to many of the diseases that are associated, the conditions that are associated with blood vessels. For example, stroke. If it blocks the blood vessels. So and to compensate for that to a certain extent, RBCs increase their quantities of 2,3 DPG, so that more of the oxygen can be supplied to the tissues, but then again there is a limit to that. And because of their shape, they're also very fragile and weak, so they break away easily. They're hemolyzed, so there's a lot of hemolysis, unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia, and eventually jaundice. And another clinical is fluoride in toothpaste. Ever wonder why we use fluoride in toothpaste? The reason is that fluoride, it inhibits enolase enzyme, which was converting to phosphoglycerate to phosphoenol pyruvate. And inhibition of that step actually reduces your chance of dental caries. Why? Because lactate is not produced. The bacteria, they try to make lactate, but this fluoride, it inhibits it, right? So that's all for the clinicals. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below. And thanks for watching. Allah Hafiz.